gentlemen, Wookiees of all ages, welcome to episode 1 of Hell of a Pilot. With me today, and as always, is the one and only His Majesty, Mike Marriott. How are you today, Mike?
Thank you for that introduction. I think that was very appropriate for me. I'm fantastic, and I'm excited to be doing this, mate.
That's fantastic. To me, on my left, is the illustrious, glorious, magical Lockie. How are you, Lockie?
I'm very well, thank you, and it's about time I got introduced that way. You're gonna have to come with me everywhere I go, so you can introduce me properly. Everybody I have to speak to.
Very good. Make way. Lockie is here. Mike, we love Star Wars. Star Wars is life. Mm-hmm. Life is Star Wars, and we live in a majestic time for Star Wars fandom. Let me ask you, what are your qualifications for being on this show? How long have you been watching Star Wars? How long have you been playing X-Wing?
Look, to answer the first part, the very first film I saw in my life was Episode 4. I was a little lad. I was 8 years old. I campaigned my parents for the better part of 6 months. I threatened and bribed them. And ever since then, the Star Wars has kept me captured. I don't like to talk about the dark times, or what people call the prequels. Bygones, we can move past that. But since then, I think I agree, it's a wonderful time to be a Star Wars fan. As far as X-Wing is concerned, I've been playing for literally a year now. So I just started playing last December. So, and right away the game captured me. I loved it. I think from the very first turn I played of this game, I was like, I'm sold. It's Star Wars. The models are amazing. It's simple to learn. It takes time to master, but the game is just a hell of a lot of fun.
Couldn't agree more. X-Wing has just become a main staple in my life. Lockie, you also play X-Wing.
I also play X-Wing.
You also play X-Wing. How long have you also been playing X-Wing?
I've been playing X-Wing for about a year and a half, I think. I don't remember exactly when I started, but it was as soon as I'd played one game of it on a circular table, which made it difficult, but as soon as I had played one game of it, I knew this was something that I had to be a part of, because it was I had given up on Warhammer 40k. Still a perfectly fine game. Don't want to turn off any listeners out there who play it, but it wasn't for me anymore. But a miniatures game that was fun and simple was a big attraction for me.
And they came pre-painted.
They came pre-painted, but you can still paint them. Anybody out there who's seen the X-Wing models and might be wondering, they are easily painted.
Good. Lockie, Star Wars in general. Tell me, first show.
Lifelong fan. I saw the original Star Wars trilogy back to back, all in one night on old VHS when I was little. I went to my mum and dad went for dinner at some of our close family friends' house, and at the time I was too young to join in with the grown-ups. So they popped me in the living room and they put on, this is the original trilogy before Lucas changed it on VHS. Watched the first one, went into the room with the grown-ups. Can I watch the next one? They put it on for me. A couple of hours later, went in the room with the grown-ups. Can I watch the next one? So I smashed out the original trilogy in the first night. You know, I was born in the shadow of the original Star Wars trilogy, but I grew up in the Star Wars Renaissance in the 90s and the early 2000s. And now it's and I was molded and shaped, and now it's all about Rogue One.
What a hell of a time we live in, I have to say.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
What a time. I myself, much like most people, love Star Wars ever since I was a kid. It kind of became an obsession for me, especially movies-wise. They were the first VHSs I ever owned. They came in, we bought them from the post office. They were in a golden box, and they were the special edition. And I thought at the time that was a good thing. However, lo and behold. Anyway. Ever since I was a young child, I always loved Star Wars. And I would gush about it for as long as anyone wants to listen to it. And I will say, the prequels were not good. Shocking, right?
They were individual, really enjoyable moments tied together by stuff written by George Lucas.
Yeah.
That's not good.
He tried.
He hates sand. It's coarse and gritty and gets in everything.
But I have to say that if you take what he was trying to say during the prequel trilogy, it's actually a pretty good setup for the original trilogy. So, at least it's got that going for it. But no, let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about it. More talk about the podcast. We are a podcast, Mike, and we're in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And Melbourne is a great place to live. How are we different to any other podcast here in Melbourne? Lockie.
We're really just going to talk about it casually, In Han Solo's immortal advice, fly casual. We're not gonna get deep into stats and numbers and what list beats another list. We're just going to talk about. It's going to be a podcast about the conversation you might have about X-Wing with your mates, basically.
Wonderful, perfect answer, Mike.
It's about the X-Wing community in Melbourne and the broader X-Wing community in Australia, and about the fact that ultimately it's fun. That what we're doing is we're taking tiny plastic spaceships, pushing them around on a 3x3 piece of vinyl, and going pew pew, and that is the most fun I've had in the last couple of years.
Because if you yell pew pew, the red dice work better.
It's
Absolutely.
true.
Yes.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So that's us here at Hell of a Pilot Podcast. We're here for news, reviews, and pew pew pews. Thank you, Mike. All right, Lockie, Mike, what do we have on the show today? We'll start with you, Mike.
Look, we're going to have a segment we call HoloNet News, and we're going to be talking about the recent Victorian Regionals. So we'll talk a little bit about our experiences and also the results, and we've got some fantastic interviews from that. Next up, we've got One Hell of a Pilot. That's a segment on some of the pilots within Star Wars, their lore, their background, and their character.
Oh, I love it. What's next, Lockie?
Next, we're going to be talking about the Heroes of the Aturi Cluster, which is the RPG X-Wing mashup that you can play. It's team-based rather than competitive. Everybody plays as the rebels, and we'll explain more about that in a minute.
And rounding out the show, we're going to take a sit down, have a drink, go to the local cantina, and talk about the local news, upcoming tournaments around Melbourne. Okay, so without further ado, I say it's on with the show.
Good evening, loyal citizens, and welcome to HoloNet News. Tonight in the Empire, Regionals. Well, boys and girls, it's come, it's gone, it's come again. And now for the results, Owen.
Well, it's been regional season twice this year. This time, however, I didn't do terribly. This time, I didn't almost miss out on the card. I actually did alright, and I came ninth.
Mate, when we played the other day and you whipped out that stack of Veteran Instincts that was about half an inch thick, just from all the stores you've been to, they were like, here, have this. You were like, have my Veteran Instincts.
Everyone, you get a Veteran Instinct. You get a Veteran Instinct.
Look under your chair, it's Veteran Instincts.
But I'm going to say, Owen, you did a fantastic job. You missed out on the top 8 cut only from MOV. 4 and 2 is a fantastic result. You've put in the time and the effort, and you flew your squad extremely well. Just very quickly, what did you fly?
Well, this time, I actually spent some time thinking about it, and didn't just the night before go, this'll work. This time, I did a take on the old Manaroo and... What's the word I'm looking for?
The Fenaroo?
The Fenaroo. Yeah. A take on Fenaroo. This time with a tiny mind link. The shenanigans that Manaroo can do with a tiny mind link. Here, having a tiny mind link. Oh, we've all got focus? Here, have my focus. What? Where'd this focus come from? I have a focus? What? Yeah.
I didn't see a lot from regionals. Were there many of the Protectorate Starfighters there?
I didn't come across any myself, but Mike, you did?
Yes, in one occasion. I know Hewan, who's also a member of our Rouge Squadron, which we'll mention, also flew the Protectorate as well. But there weren't too many. I think what we could say about regionals was defenders, 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 with a side order of defenders.
Oh my god, the amount of times I passed the table and it was just 3 defenders on 3 defenders, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore.
Yep.
I don't know whose is whose. It doesn't matter. They're all defenders.
But look, yours was a great list. It was Cavill in the Y-wing, and Fenrau for the win.
Yeah, and Manaru.
And Manaru, which was a fantastic squad. And yeah, you did well.
We worked on it together. Yeah, Mike and I trying to figure out how bombs versus torpedoes. Initially, we had a torpedo build, and in the end, we settled for bombs on Cavill because we figured that people are going to chase Cavill and try and kill Cavill, and if we can do just a little bit of shenanigans on his way, then why not?
I've seen you bomb. You can bomb things.
I can bomb things.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the bombs actually saved my bacon a couple of times. One time, however, it cost me 40 points. But, whatever. It's fine. Bombs are fantastic. Try them. Especially in this meta with all these evade tokens and focuses. And it's very hard to hit certain enemies, such as defenders. They're a new way to play, and they're very, very interesting. So, a breakdown of my list is Cavill with TLT. He also had cluster bombs and Fenrau with Fenrau stuff. Fenrau doing Fenrau, auto thrusters, a tiny mind link, the title. He's fine. He works well.
I love those titles. I always picture him as, the Perry from the Lord of the Rings. The closer we are to danger, the further we are from harm.
Once he's in range 2 or 3, he's dead. It doesn't matter like how good you are at flying him. He's dead. So Fenrau does some work if you get it right. An example of getting it right was doing a 5 straight into a boost and taking the entire shields off a large base ship in one turn. He then proceeded to die in the next turn, which was half of his list. A way of doing it wrong is doing a 5 straight right into the shot of a torpedo. Mike, how about you? You had some amazing defender fun with a list that we cobbled together the night before at 10 p.m. Turns out, maybe don't listen to me when I'm very tired.
Yeah, thanks for that. Look, I went 2 and 4, and I'm pretty happy with that. That's actually what I was aiming for. This is really my first serious competition. I didn't get a chance to book time with this list. We put it together. So all those classic, I wouldn't say errors or mistakes, but I wasn't sure what I was going to fly before, and I settled on a list which I didn't know very well. But having said that, first half of the day, disastrous. Three losses. Almost went home, actually. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to pull this out of the fire. I came here to win 2 games, and if I do that, I'm going to do that. Second half.
But that's really good though. That you've told me about how you went at the regionals as well, and it made me think at the time. Games like this, it's a test of perseverance as much as anything else. If you're the sort of person who loses a few games, then spits the dummy and goes home, you're not going to enjoy it. If you go along and you've done exactly the right thing. Just try to win the games that you won, and as long as you can enjoy it.
Yeah, look, and the afternoon was a lot of fun. I played some great players. I was really happy with how I was flying. I was flying 2 defenders, Riyadh, Vessery, and Karnor with some shenanigans there. Karnor, I hadn't had enough time flying, but by the end of the day, you know what? I felt pretty confident with him, pretty happy with him, except those times when I forgot to use Karnor's ability, and Owen was standing next to the table, silently screaming inside.
I had to walk away for a moment because there was a point when he allowed a focus to be taken and then used that was negative to you, and I walked away and I came back and I held onto a table and I was just like, it was a long day. I quite understood it.
Yeah, but I tell you what, the main reason I went was as a learning experience, and that's what I got. So I've only really started to enter into the competitive scene. I haven't done many store champions or any other competitions. So this was a great test for me. It told me what I needed to do. So part of my X-Wing journey over the next year or so is, okay, how do I fly better? How do I get comfortable with the squads I like? How do I improve those results? But overall still, it was still a lot of fun. I did love flying the defenders, but I will say I'm now a little stale on them, having flown them so much. And
Well, they're the biggest example in the entire game that I can think of a ship being buffed from total obscurity right into the forefront.
yes,
Nobody flew defenders. Well, yeah, you flew defenders, Mike, but you are a TIE defender that only occasionally assumes human form. But now defenders, they're everywhere, but they were nowhere beforehand. So
Correct.
if nothing else, you got to congratulate Fantasy Flight for that.
Look, I think they've done a fantastic job. I think I will fly them in some form going forward. At heart, I'm an Imperial player. I'll probably continue to be that. I'm excited for the TIE Striker. But look, regionals overall, I think the fantastic thing about it was the sheer diversity of lists and the creativity of the Melbourne community.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
completely agree, Mike. Let me ask you, what surprised you on the day, list-wise? What was out there that you thought, this wasn't going to happen, why is this here?
Phantoms.
Phantoms.
Yeah.
The old glass cannons.
The old glass cannon, and the eventual winner of regionals, Nick, he won that with the Phantom in something called the Minox Special. But also there was another player there. I think is it Liam from memory or Luke who flew the Vader?
Oh, Liam, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liam Early, always
Yes.
early Liam.
Yes.
Perth fellow. He's.
Yeah.
I got an interview with him, which we will be speaking to
Sure.
with very, very shortly. He's a fantastic fellow, and every single time he comes up against me, he absolutely pantsers me.
Yeah.
It's not even classy. It's 100-0 always.
Yeah. Look, and he flies Whisper in the Phantom with Darth Vader and Omega Leader, and just flies it very precisely, very well, all the rest of it. But I think what was really interesting to see was, less interesting for me, the resurgence of TLT. We saw TLTs making a comeback there, so we have to get ready for that. But also there was a sort of, a Rebel Swarm, which I came up against, which was 2 B-Wings, some Zs, and a Y.
That is very, very surprising, and
That's old-fashioned.
it is.
But it worked.
That's early.
Yeah,
early
wave
X-Wing.
1.
Yeah.
Wave 1. So,
I loved it. I love it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, not wave 1.
Or wave 2,
The Zeds weren't around for a while,
Yeah.
but the old.
The B's and the Y's, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I liked it.
and I think that's a surprising thing. I think everything old is new again. I think that's really what's happened. I think,
Well, it's interesting you say that. Where's Jansen in the old T-65
Yep.
X-Wing?
Yep.
And you were saying as well about TLTs coming
Yep.
back. They're a desperation move. Oh, well, that might be too strong a term, but
Yep.
coming back, everybody, as soon as defenders got popular, everybody's going to their box of tricks. They're thinking, how do I kill a defender? And that brought Wes back
How do I
in the
take away his
T-65.
action? Yeah.
How do I take away his action? You pop VI on Wes, make him pilot skill 10. He's going before your squad, which is important. And, of course, Wedge Antilles, who I think never went away. He's back in the T-65. So, yeah, everything old, like you said.
It also brought back some funny ships like Palob. I've always extolled the virtues of the Hawk, and Palob he's always been the best. He's always been amazing. Palob, Forlom, and what's the turret there? Ion turret, of course.
yeah.
Ion turret. It doesn't matter where you're going. You're going where I want you to go. We're going together. Off the board.
Yeah.
That is how Palob works.
And look, I think we also have to talk about the emerging superstar that is Miranda in the K-Wing with bombs. After Worlds, she became a lot more popular. And so Olaf, member of Bantha Squadron, flew some brilliant games with the K-Wing. One of the qualifying games we watched where he brilliantly took out two ships in 2 moves.
One bomb, take a ship. Second bomb, take a second ship. He was on the back foot from I don't know where. He lost half his squadron pretty much immediately against their fully built squadron, and he took it out with bombs and TLT and Miranda, and Miranda's back, baby.
Yep, she's back. Look, she was never out of fashion, but expect to see a lot more Miranda, I think, after Worlds, and especially after Regionals.
So, I think it's time for us to move on to some interviews.
Hello, I'm here with Tim Salinger of Adelaide X-Wing Community. Could you please tell me a little bit about Adelaide?
Yeah, so did you want me to go into when I started or?
Well, tell me about the community and how it differs from Melbourne, and how what have you seen here that's different?
Well, not a whole lot really. It's mostly how people represent themselves and play different lists. Last year, Adelaide was very calm and casual, so their lists weren't, say, A or S tier, so it was mostly just fun, casual lists, and then when interstaters come to our regionals, they just win it. So this year we've been mainly going over, trying to get an implementation of higher, more competitive lists, and we've been able to make a small ATC team that we did this April.
Mm-hmm.
And
How did your team go in ATC?
Oh, we came last.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah,
happens.
We were beginning. We were beginning our team, and then some people had to drop out, so we had to borrow a couple of players from Canberra and Sydney, and it was really good fun to represent ourselves against the other states, and yeah.
So we're coming into the final round,
Yep.
and where are you sitting?
I'm currently 3-2.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
So it's pretty good.
What list did you bring?
I brought something called the Royal Reds, which is Carnal Jax in the TIE Interceptor, and he's got push the limit, tidal, auto thrusters, and hull upgrade, and he's partnered with 2 glaive defenders with crackshot and TIE 7.
Oh, that's a pretty strong list, actually. So, how far is it to drive here? I'm assuming you drove.
Yeah, we left yesterday at 4 in the afternoon because Gary and Alan, who are more, more of the elderly members of our group, they had to finish work, and then we drove over here, and finally got into Melbourne at about 1:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's been good fun.
So your shirt says King Scrub. There must be a story there.
Yeah, so that goes back to when I, go back to online gaming, and you got that typical insult where it's like, oh, you scrub, you suck, and I turned a derogatory insult into a compliment. So I know myself as King Scrub, and it's more of a passing joke within Adelaide where we've got different types of scrubs. We're building a Scrub Nation.
Scrub Nation.
Yeah.
Good. Adelaide, Scrub Nation, coming at you.
That's right.
Any shout-outs that you want to give out?
Well, I really enjoy just mainly the Australian podcasts, Imperial Propaganda. They're really good. Ali and David running local runners as well, and especially General Games doing all the Twitch feed as well, especially with Nationals that was just in the past, and some of the other regionals as well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, King Scrub. That was very enlightening.
Thanks.
Well, good luck with your final round, and I'm sure I'll see you up on the final table.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks.
I'm here with Liam Early, always early. We've just finished our last game, and how'd you go?
That was a win. So the end result after 6 rounds is 5 wins, 1 loss. So made the cut by the looks of it.
Oh, that sounds good. So what were you flying today?
So I was flying Whisper with the standard advanced targeting computer, Veteran Instincts fire control system, and Agent Callus. Darth Vader with Duke, Title advanced targeting computer, and Tracers with guidance chips, so I can get the target lock for Omega Leader, which is my 3rd pilot, with the standard Duke and Com relay.
With all those defenders flying around, do you find you haven't found that your list sort of gives up a bit early?
No, the benefit to my list actually comes with Darth Vader and the Tracers, because I go in with Omega Leader, I have the focus and the evade, and then Vader shoots. People don't particularly want to dodge the traces because they don't do any damage. So I can get Whisper and Omega Leader a target lock each. So they both got a focus and a target lock before first round. So it's accurate.
We actually haven't already covered this, but where are you from, Liam?
I'm from Western Australia, so come quite a while.
Yeah, that's a hell of a drive. So how long have you been flying?
So I have been playing X-Wing since 2013, I believe. Christmas 2013, my dad bought me a TIE Bomber and Corsair, and that's when I started.
Nice. So what brings you to Melbourne?
Well, I'm actually part of my job because I'm in the Navy, so I'm based around here until Thursday when I fly back, see the folks, see all the guys from Western Australia that have been cheering me on today. Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, so yeah, shout out to them. Give us a go. Where like what's your combat squad?
Well, we don't really have teams as such in Western Australia. It's more one big community, and you know we've got a Facebook group, and that's where everything's. That's where all the communication goes when we're talking about lists and ideas. But it's the tournament scene. They're all really great guys, really competitive. It's really brilliant to play against them, but you know they're friendly and they give great advice, and we all just help each other out.
So how do you find that separate to, let's say Melbourne? You've said that there's no real teams over there. In Melbourne, we have the Lothal Runners and the yeah.
I've the first time I've actually seen people in uniform with the same shirts on was today. I came in, I look at these guys from Adelaide in the red shirts, and they got X-Wing written on them. I'm like, this is not good. I don't want to play these people. I'm just like, these guys must be better than everyone else here because they're a bloody team.
I like that. Yeah, those Adelaide guys, their shirts are really cool with the spread wings over the A-wing. That's really
brilliant,
awesome.
absolutely brilliant. I love it.
So, any other shout-outs you'd like to give?
I mean, shout out to my dad and the rest of the X-Wing WA guys in. They've just been supporting me throughout the day. Everyone's telling me to kick ass over in Melbourne. So just been trying my hardest.
Alrighty. So, thanks very much, Liam. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure. Do you reckon you'll take today?
I don't know. I've seen some Dangaroo lists that I'm a bit afraid of. Omega Leader, Whisper, and Palpatine I'm afraid of because I don't have an initiative bid. My list relies on actually shooting first with Duke and Vader. So he shoots, jukes, and then when he defends, he spends the evade, and Whisper with the cloaking device. So if another 4-dice ship shooting Whisper before she cloaks, that's a problem.
Try and take the Melbourne regional title back to Perth. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. And I know a couple of guys who will have some words with that.
Depends. Yeah, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Only time will tell.
That's right. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I've had a couple of games with you before. You continuously kick my ass. So
that's my EPT. Kick ass.
Always early EPT kick ass. Put it on a card. Alrighty. Thanks very much, Liam.
Catch you later.
Bye. I'm here with Ali of the Lothal Runners. Ali, it's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
How'd you go?
I went fine too. Not as good as I would have liked, but reasonably happy.
Oh, that's good. Can you tell me about your list?
I'm flying Party Bus, Dengar, Slaver with Dengar, Zuckuss and Fallen, Manaroo with Trick Shot, Unhinged in K4, Fen Rao with Push, Tidal and Thrusters.
And how did that go for you? Did you find any weak points in your list?
I feel like I flew really well throughout the day. The Slaver goes down really fast on the concentrated fire, so yeah, it's you can't really send him in there. It's just I still need to test them. I don't really find the list itself to be difficult. I sort of had a bit of trouble in a few situations making the right decision. So yeah, that's probably what cost me my losses in the end. Just a couple of wrong decisions.
To those who say Zuckuss is overpowered, what do you say?
Look, I think Zuckuss is a bit too good. As soon as I saw Zuckuss when they announced him, I was like, Yeah, I could see that on a slaver. I could see that on a slaver, and I immediately did it and took it to the Australian Team Championships. And I was the only person flying the Zucker's crew member at the Australian Team Championships. I think everybody sort of slowly picked up on it after that. I'm not trying to say that I sort of opened everyone's eyes, but maybe everybody was a bit slow on the uptake. Zucker's a bit too good. I think not by himself. It's everything that you can sort of base off of Zucker's that makes him a bit too good. He's only 1 point, which means that he's extremely versatile. You can get a ship with Dengar crew as well, and that's sort of what pushes it a bit too far.
Do you often run him with Forlom, or do you find that Forlom, the Ion token, is just not worth taking?
No, I think the Ion. I think Forlom is amazing because once you get into that position where you can absolutely shoot something and deal a lot of damage to it, you get to see what dice you roll first, and you also obviously know what tokens they have on them. So, yeah, Forlom is beautiful. If you can play a party bus right, Forlom is a staple. Yeah, it has to go on there.
I will say I did copy your list. I didn't know it was your list, but I did copy your list, and I took a 2-1 store game, and it went really well. Went really well.
I was actually told that a lot of people are flying a list very similar to this, which is surprising because I might have been the only person flying a party bus today, but you certainly don't see them around very much.
Yeah, it's true. So you're part of the Lothal Runners. Can you tell me about them? I mean, any rivalries you want to yell at?
Officially, I wouldn't say that we have any rivalries. This is one thing that we've got to love about Melbourne. Everybody gets along and sort of, is in each other's ear and likes to help each other out. We're all a bunch of mates in the end.
Do you want to call someone out?
I'd like to call out the Banthers who have definitely showed us up today.
Oh, yes.
We've got, I think there's 2 or 3 Banthers, maybe even 4 Banthers in the.
Nick took out top of Swiss.
Yeah, look, Nick is an amazing player. I met him at the 2015 regionals, and it was probably my second or third tournament, and he wiped the floor with me. I was still learning how to play, but ever since then we've always had a bit of a rivalry thing going on, and I've got a few games on him now, but at tournaments in Swiss, he generally does better than me. And I mean, I hope he does really well in the cut. But just from what I've seen, he does well in the cut. But I would argue that I do better in cuts generally. Yeah, because
whatever it takes, we've got to keep the regionals trophy here. Did we lose it last time?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Morgan took it at the last regionals, and it was actually really interesting because there was Morgan and 5 other New South Wales people in the top 8. Then there was me, there was 6th, and 1 other Victorian person that finished in the top cut as well.
The New South Wales people were not really, I guess, represented today.
No. I think
Adelaide too.
Yeah. Look, the Adelaide people are great. I've met them at the Australian Team Championships, most of them anyway, and I talk to them on Vassal and sometimes play with them on Vassal. They're a great bunch of guys. Gary Nowak's awesome. Tim Salinger's awesome. And he did fantastic today to get into the cut at 4-2. Amazing MOV. Yeah, the New South Wales guys, I don't know. I was talking to Travis and he said that he's got work or something, so they're all probably a bit too busy. It's coming into the Christmas holidays and things like that, so everyone's probably just a bit too busy.
Can you comment on the state of X-Wing, the community, the game, the release schedule?
In terms of the local community, at the start of the year, in terms of trying to bring more and more people together, wasn't so successful, but we're going to keep trying and stick to it. It's been a long year, so we've taken a bit of a break, and a few of our members have sort of gone AWOL and done their own thing. But I'd just like to see people here locally just band together more often, just get together more often. There are definitely a few pocket communities here and there that they're amazing. It's just these communities need to branch out more into other communities and so on and so forth. And, a bit more like the New South Wales boys, I suppose. They all get together and they all have a great time together.
I hear that spend a week just pretty much practicing X-wing. At least one of the guys there told me.
I couldn't tell you, but I wouldn't be surprised. They all train together, and they've got a really good bunch of people at the helm as well. If you talk about Travis and Jaron, they certainly understand the importance of intensive training, and they're getting all those getting fine tuning, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, we here in Melbourne, we definitely need to push it in that regard.
What about X-Wing as a whole and the releases that and this sort of double hit of
Yeah.
You talk about that?
Yeah, honestly, I think the game's being extremely successful, so I can understand why they want to push out the game as fast as they are. It definitely feels like the last few releases have been a bit lacking. I mean, Waves have been a bit lacking. Pure Veterans came out. That was fantastic. Here's the Resistance didn't really make a mark. And was it Wave 9? Wave 9 has a few awesome ships, but you put them up against Defenders and so on and so forth, and Defenders are just incredible. So
Defenders are very good.
I think the other hard part of having a Star Wars game is the fact that there are movies being released, and when we saw The Force Awakens released, there were a lot of people that just picked up the game at that point in time. So I think they're trying to sort of leverage off of that as well. Yeah.
Well, we'll bring this interview to a close. Is there any other shout-outs you'd like to give?
I'd like to give a shout out to the Banthers. You guys are awesome. The Outer Rim guys from the Western Suburbs. You guys are sick. I always love hanging out with you guys. And General Games for hosting a fantastic tournament once again.
General Game. This is a wonderful. The software is just incredible. The everything they've run is just running perfectly today.
Well, the funny thing is, this is just something that they've more or less slapped together. This isn't the final product, so it's only going to get better.
Well, I must say it's very, very well done.
Yeah, well, Chris from the Thar Runners is working on it, and he gives us sneak previews every now and then, and it's fantastic. I'm working on a Star Wars Destiny app, just in my own time. It's really fun, but definitely got to put some more time into X-Men, I think, especially after today's result.
All right, well, thank you very much, Ali. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll see you at the Nationals. Let's hope we keep it here.
Yeah, man, thanks, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers.
Hello, welcome, Brendan, to the show, episode 1 of Hell of a Pilot. And you, my friend, are a hell of a pilot. Tell me, what did you just accomplish?
Much, mate. I'm very excited to be here, be part of the podcast, which is the first one. It's a bit of an honour. Recently, I came second in for 2016, so that was, a good day.
2016 Regionals. You flew a very, very interesting list, something that I was not expecting, and it took me away. What happened? What? Tell me about your list.
I love it. It's recently I flew, as pretty much everyone in the Australian X-Wing community knows, I flew 4 Y-Wings with title for about 12 months last year, and had a lot of success with that and really enjoyed that. And then from there I went to a Crack Swarm. And the last sort of 3-4 months since Nationals, I've just been toying around with a few different things. So I always like to, when it's not a tournament, I like to just think around with stuff. And so I came to call it Dashing Donnie, because at the end of the day, it's all about Miranda Donnie, man. She's dashing, she's beautiful, she's phenomenal. It's Super Dash, basically the standard build, except I have Ezra in there instead of Kyle Katarn. Ezra's ability, for those that don't know, when you are stressed, when attacking, you may change one focus result to a crit result. So that really helps to mitigate sort of the deficit of not getting crits through on the heavy laser cannon with Dash. And then Miranda, I have Downhorse Crew, so she allows a friendly ship at range may receive or take a focus action. When they get that token, they can change it to an evade token if they wish, once per round. And then she also had homing missiles and long-range scanners. So, and TLT, of course.
So how long have you been, obviously, a fan of Star Wars, and how long have you been playing X-Wing, and at what point did you decide, you know what, I want to do competitive, and I want to decimate the competition and leave them all to shame?
Yeah, I think Star Wars is about the first movie I can remember watching. I remember pretty vividly. I would have been like 5 or 6 or something, and it came on TV. And my dad, who never really cared about movies or anything like that, he's like, "Oh, okay, this movie's on, and you've got to watch it like it's just one of these big iconic movies, and you've got to see it." And so we were allowed to stay up late past our bedtime, which was normally after Home and Away back in the day. So yeah, I remember watching it on TV and just loved it. And I've sort of loved it ever since. There was a bit of a cold period there, I suppose, where I didn't do a lot with it. But as I've got older again, it's sort of come back into my life more and more. And thoroughly enjoying all the new movies that are coming out. X-Wing wise, I sort of stumbled across that about 2 years ago. So that was just as Wave 5 was about to release. So just as the YT 2400 and up. So it was pretty interesting times in X-Wing. Probably not necessarily the best time to start playing, just with what the meta and the ships were doing at that time. But I loved it from the start. And as soon as I started playing, we played the Corsair with my mates. Loved that. Wanted to get more ships. Wanted to get more on the table. Initially, I was like, I don't want to buy all these ships. I just like, the iconic ones that I played in X-Wing and TIE Fighter video games as a kid. And next thing you look and buying all this different stuff. So, fell in love with it straight away. Got heavily addicted. I was on Facebook like every couple of days, like, is anyone in Frankston who want to go to the game store and play X-Wing? Like, it was sort of a bit desperate, really.
So the hard-hitting questions: who is your favorite character, and why is it Jar Jar Binks?
I kind of I hated Jar Jar, but I posted online about him being the ultimate Sith character, and I actually like him more after that. It's real strange, but
I have seen that. It's really interesting
quite
how
interesting.
people can just pull the smallest bit of information from the movies and be like, "This is clearly what was happening." Obviously,
I feel like it's got a lot of credibility. I really do. It's a very good, very interesting theory. For those of you that haven't read it, definitely worth checking out. But favorite character, there's so many to choose from. I'm pretty into Poe at the moment. Really, really, really like Poe. I think it's more just his theme in like Star Wars Destiny and his pilot skill in X-Wing, and he's pretty good in the movie as well. But probably favorite all time's probably got to be Obi-Wan. I'm a pretty big Ewan McGregor fan. He carried those first 3 movies really. And he's just a great character right through sort of the Clone Wars and
right through to the end.
Is just phenomenal. Exactly. So a pretty big fan of Obi-Wan. He's probably got to be number one.
So bringing it back to regionals, what was some of the highlights for you, and what were you afraid to see across the map?
Regionals awesome. I had a great day. Really good, fun competition to play against. The day was run exceptionally well. They had a really good stream set up, and the tables and the software was fantastic. And I think they learned because for those that don't know, nationals this year, and there was a bit of outcry that it was only a one-day event essentially. They didn't have side events and stuff. And so even though regionals was just one day, they had like a Destiny side event on in the evening for those that didn't make the card, and it just felt a bit more player focused, which was really good. I think it really made the day a lot more fun for everyone. List wise, there's not a lot that I think it's so well balanced, and the thing is that what Miranda makes the list so flexible. So when you've got the homing missiles, you can take that target lock on the first turn, and she can just sit there and snipe those aces. Like, she's a massive threat for them. And then even if she doesn't get the homing missiles off, they're having to dodge her arc whilst also trying to chase Dash and not get into range 2 or 3 with him, but stayed range 1. So, and then if they're doing that, Miranda's chipping away with the TLT, which is still a big threat for them. So it's really flexible. This is still probably the hardest matchup. The only loss for the day was against Nick Henley's list. He had a Whisper, Omega Leader, and a Shuttle. And that's quite challenging just because everything can be killed, and the list is quite good at dealing with those things. But Whisper can just chew through Dash before you really get everything set up exactly how you want. So that's probably the one thing you don't want to see is a Phantom. Everything else pretty comfortable with. maybe like Khan with engine upgrade can be a bit of a threat. He can be pretty range one. But yeah, I feel like the list is quite versatile, which is why I really enjoy it. It's fun to fly. You got lots of arc dodging, lots of like heavy attacks coming, lots of mind games, which is probably what I excel at and really enjoy in the game the most.
I can attest to that. That's very hard to pin down your ships when you don't want them to be pinned down.
Yeah, we had a cracker game. That was around.
Oh, it was a good game for you. It wasn't good for me.
One of the unlucky ones on 4-2. It was close. I think you were pretty close to the
I was
Kyrene.
9th.
Yeah, that's pretty close. That's about as close as you can be without being in it. So.
Yeah.
My apologies,
It was
mate.
a whole scene falling over and like lamenting. So, advice you would give casual players looking to enter the competitive scene, and especially advice coming into we're in full swing in regional season. What advice would you give to people wanting to go to nationals and even worlds?
So just go, just do it. It's the best. Definitely the best way to learn. You'll usually surprise yourself with how well you do. And if you don't, you meet a lot of great people. There's a lot of other kind of casual or semi-regular players there that, I could be more competitive, but I really like this. I just want to muck around with this and have some fun. So it's a great day. It's a lot of fun. If you're really like feeling nervous about not being able to perform or getting wiped before, like no one really minds. Everyone's pretty friendly and happy to chat and give you tips and help you to learn. Like they'll generally be able to point out things that you didn't know or weren't aware of. Just going and seeing all the different lists is huge. I think it really opens up your creative, which definitely helps. And in terms of preparation stuff, definitely YouTube is like a great source.
Wave 10 ships. What are you excited for? What are you not excited for?
I am super excited. I think it's a beast. 2 crews always just great. You get so many options with that. It's essentially 4 red dice, 2 green dice, and 4 shields and 4 hull. Like that's just amazing. Great dial as well. Like really good. So I think that's like going to be quite a beast. Especially with the arc, like just the rebels have got some really cool stuff happening at the moment. Just in terms of just connectivity. I really like the Upsilon shuttle. It's copping a little bit of flack online already, but I think the dial's pretty good.
Oh, the dial's
with
really,
the
really good
light,
for a shuttle.
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And 4 red dice is just insanely good. 12 hull, like points efficiency, like that thing is crazy.
What's its base
Like
cost?
30,
That's still really good.
which is just it's really good. Like you look at a Phantom, like it's 40 points to get all the stuff, and yeah, she's elusive. It's hard to pin down, but it's mostly she takes a lot of shots before she dies, and she's doing 4 red dice all the time. But she can't target lock. This thing can target lock. It's got fire control. It's got 2 crew instead of 1. 12 hit points. It's just it's crazy good. I think it'll be really good. I just like those heavy hitting ships, things like that are fantastic.
Generally, there's 3 teams here in Melbourne: the Lothal Runners, the Bantha Squadron, and the Outer Rim. Do you affiliate yourself with any of these teams, or are you a lone gun, a gun for hire, a bounty hunter?
I'm based in Frankston all along. A lot of the guys that are working at General Games and are part of the Lothal Runners used to come down to Frankston a lot. We used to play together quite a bit. But yeah, I connect up with some local guys down here. We've been joking around about giving ourselves a name and stuff. We've had some pretty funny ones. We're going to be one of the guys wants to call us the Frankston Falcons because Falcons are pretty synonymous with Melbourne X-Wing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But no, good little crew down here. Andrew played at the regionals and finished top 8 as well, so that was pretty exciting for us. Callan and Declan and Tricky Mickey. So we've got a good little crew. They did pretty well as well. Declan and Callan finished sort of around 30th at regionals.
Nice.
But most of these guys have only been playing for a year, so they're all kind of new up and comers. So I've kind of taken them under my wing a little bit, and we've worked pretty hard on some lists and just practicing and stuff. So yeah, it's good fun, man. That's where I play most of my X-Wing. I'd like to trek up to next level games, Ringwood, a bit as well. Play with Shane Danders up there. Michael Cesaric used to play quite a lot, but now he's more Imperial Assault. So, yeah, I get around Melbourne a bit.
So if you won Worlds and you had a chance to design a crew card or an upgrade card or anything, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like the idea of like stay on target. I think that's a cool idea, but very inefficient with making it the red move. I'm all about efficiency, so I'd imagine it'd have to be something that's quite efficient, but also, yeah, not quite sure. Maybe, I suppose classically it should be something about like the Y-wing or a turret. Seeing I kind of got a little bit almost famous for that a while ago. So, yeah, don't know, man. It's a really good question. It's a dilemma that I don't have the privilege of looking forward to for quite a while, I think.
So, any shout-outs? Anyone you'd like to call out?
Ooh, get the drama happening, huh? Definitely want to shout out to basically an event I help run called ANZ Team Championship, ANZTC for short. So it's an Australia New Zealand team championship. So it's state versus state, and then New Zealand versus all of us. We had our first event last year, which is it was a raging success. It was a phenomenal event. It's teams of 6 players. You all have a list. You're locked into the day, and there's like an interesting tactical way you match up against your opponent's lists and stuff. So you try and skew the matchups in your favor. And yeah, it's just great. It's all the best players from each state coming together, having a great weekend away. It was run at 3D6 in Canberra, so that's phenomenal. Keep your ears and eyes open for that. There'll be more details coming out soon, especially now that we sort of get halfway through. Good mate up north in Sydney, Tom Harper, is the main kind of leading cat, if you will, in organising that. Champion bloke, so definitely, if you see him, buy him a beer. He's a good guy, and he does a lot for the community without even often getting to play himself, which was the case last year. He organised the whole thing and then wasn't able to play because of other commitments. So, yeah, just real selfless guy, top dude. Otherwise, just, yeah, anyone in the community, everyone's pretty good. I enjoy every game I have most of the time. Yeah, if you see me around, say good day. If you want any tips, I'm always happy to help. I love talking through the strategy of the asteroids and your initial deployment and just all of it. I eat it up. So, yeah, feel free to pick my brain at any time. Challenge my assumptions; they're often wrong. So, yeah, that's.
Well, thank you very much, Brendan. You've been a wonderful guest, and I look forward to playing you again. Hopefully, next time I won't get pantsed.
And I look forward to it too. I really enjoy that game. It's good. You're a top bloke, so thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
That's right. We're here to tell you about the lore of Star Wars. Mike, does the lore extend beyond the movies?
Of course it does. Absolutely.
Lockie, is the lore outside the movies good?
It definitely was back in the day. I mean, they call it Star Wars Legends now. All the canon's been updated, but not that there's any. The stuff they're doing is fine, but I still got fond memories of back how it was.
Arnold Jax was good. Sun Tifel was life.
It was. Old Republic, in my book, was some of the shining moments of the old expanded universe.
Yeah. And of course, we owe great thanks to Star Wars Rebels for bringing some of these things back in.
Oh yeah, bring back Admiral Thrawn.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And the Defender.
And the Defender. Oh yeah.
Oh, you glorious blue bastard.
One of these ships was not like the other. It was invisible. It showed up. It shot things and disappeared again. As Lockie says, a Rottweiler with the stealth device. Terrifying and yet majestic. Mike, what are we talking about?
We are talking about the TIE Phantom. So a little bit of lore, a little bit of background about it. Its origins actually come in a 90s video game. A little game called Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. So it was an expansion pack. And central to the story was about the rebels trying to find this mysterious ship which posed an enormous threat to the rebellion. They go in, They find out what it is. Things get blown up. They find the Phantom. So the Phantom came into existence after the Battle of Yavin, when the Empire decided that sending a swarm of poorly trained pilots in TIE fighters and getting them blown up wasn't quite effective.
The pilot skill 1 academy pilots.
Yes.
It's my first day.
Woo! Boom! Oh.
And as we like to joke, when they send out the TIE Academy, they only fill up the tank halfway because they're not coming back.
Oh, that's sad. That's a terrible joke. They have families, mate.
Look, Ma, I've got my wings. But look, so what the Empire, what they decided was, after the loss of the Death Star and the fact that the TIE Fighter proved to be sort of outclassed by the X-Wing, they actually came up with 2 responses: the Phantom and the Defender. And both those ships were designed for different roles. The Defender was a multi-strike fighter. The Phantom had 2 roles: to be a deep reconnaissance ship, to actually head out into systems, check things out, find where the rebels were, come back to base, and it would be on patrol for days at a time. It had shields and a stealth device. Its other role was to be as a sort of an expert dogfighter. During engagements, it would hang around the sidelines of the engagement, looking for enemy ships, and then hunt them down, or pop out of stealth, punch them in the face, blow them up, and then stealth back. Fortunately for the rebels, they managed to stop the production of a fleet of Phantoms. Otherwise, they would have overrun the rebellion. Only a few Phantoms ended up surviving, and a few of them were sort of put together in this thing called the Shadow Squadron. They did a little bit, but that was their thing. So for me, it's really interesting that you have this ship, which was kind of almost obscure in the sort of video game history of the Star Wars expanded universe, which is now 20 odd years later, something that we play with, and is actually one of the top tier ships. It takes a lot of skill to fly. The named pilot we all know is Whisper, who is a complete mystery. We don't know who they are, what species they are, their gender, if they have one.
Whisper is a robot. Illuminati confirmed, you guys.
I really like that collectively we just assumed that Whisper was a female.
That's
Turns
true.
out just
Echo is.
Echo is.
Yes.
Echo is female.
Echo. Do we know anything about Echo, or is she an Echo?
She's all these pilots have very limited lore.
Shadowy.
Yeah, so they're kind of like their ship, mysterious. But yes, Echo is look, in my headcanon, Whisper is always a female.
And anybody who's interested in the TIE Phantom, if you've been playing it and enjoying it, have a look on YouTube for the Rebel Assault 2 cutscenes, because they're glorious. They're not even. I'm not even going to make fun of them because they don't deserve it. It's kind of funny because it's dated, but it's back from the good old days when video games had to have live action cutscenes. If any of you who played the Jedi Knight, the sequel to Dark Forces that had, Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors in it, you'll remember the live action cutscenes. Just watching this kind of like 90s soap opera unfold, and then you'd get into your janky polygon gameplay. The Rebel Assault 2 cutscenes where there's these 2 people who are clearly just sitting on a stationary model of a speeder bike having a conversation about their mission while this blue screen background rushes past them. It's just do it. Oh man.
all credit to LucasArts in the 90s. I mean, it was cutting edge at the time. If you think like games like Wing Commander and all that, they live action sort of scenes were the thing. That was the future of video games.
When you popped your game on, when you went into DOS, popped your game on, and that purple L appeared on the screen, and that little yellow stick figure jumped out on top of it, it's like, yes, there are Star Wars things gonna happen.
Happy times.
Better time.
Yes.
Oh, nostalgia glasses. Alright, I think that's enough lore for one day. Time to get out of court and head over to the Artillery Cluster.
Our rebellion is all that remains to push back the Empire. I think you might be able to help us.
Welcome to Heroes of the Artillery Cluster, which has to be perhaps the greatest expansion, which is not an official expansion, to a tabletop game we've experienced. Do you like D&D? Do you like Star Wars? Do you like RPGs? Well, I tell you what, this mashup is pure genius. Josh Dirksen, the originator of this, I tell you what an amazing effort. The way that the missions and campaign is structured, the artificial intelligence which powers the Imperial fighters is amazing. We get through our missions and we're shocked. We're happy if we even survive. If you want to experience something different with X-Wing, not just pew pew, this is
A
the thing
different
to do.
way to pew pew. So many pews. On your knees, time to pew. It's a church reference. Come on.
I thought
I know it's a church.
it's a family show. Okay, focus, guys.
Focus. No, I'll take an evade. What? That was terrible. I'm leaving.
I think we just broke Lockie.
My heat.
The way it's structured is that you're an individual pilot. You start off with either a basic T-65 X-Wing or a Y-Wing, and you undertake missions, you gain experience. As you gain experience, you gain new abilities. You can pick and choose abilities that all the other Rebel pilots have. So eventually you can end up with a really unique pilot with some really interesting things to do. The missions themselves are challenging, very challenging. Every time you see a TIE interceptor, you break into a cold sweat. It's the most fun I've had with a tabletop game for a long time. I mean, I love my X-Wing and I love playing the 100-point game and I love the competition side, but this is just a whole different dimension.
We've set our own team apart. We've got myself, Chaos, Mike, Deadpool, and Lockie Hazard. And of course, out there, Chris, I love you. Goldfinger, also love you. And the way we've set it up is that every one of our ships works a little bit differently. Myself, I'm in a Y-Wing. Mike is in an X-Wing. Lockie's in an X-Wing. Goldfinger is in a Y-Wing. And personally, myself as Chaos, I like to get in there. I have an auto blaster turret. I don't care. I'm going to bomb someone and auto blast them and one turn take out a TIE fighter. Mike, what do you do?
Look, my job there is to tangle with the aces. So I've got my X-Wing, and while the mission is being completed, I'm flying escort. So I'm there to draw off the interceptors, to see if I can shoot them down, which is incredibly challenging. But I tell you what, it's a lot of fun. You really feel, and this is the whole thing about this game, is that you feel like you are part of the early days of the rebellion, and you're outgunned, outnumbered, you're lacking resources,
and you're not sure if you're going to make it home.
If Star Wars is set in a galaxy far, far away, then Arturia is somewhere further away than that. We're always behind enemy lines, always outnumbered and hungry. It's gotten to the point where squads of basic TIE fighters have started to intimidate us, because as soon as you take out one squad, another squad appears. The way the game's made up with the AI, it really represents a swarm.
And look, the way the AI works is it takes a very simple mechanic of, here's a chart, you roll the dice, depending on the dice results, the ships will move in a direction. Invariably, they'll move towards the closest rebel spaceship. And I tell you what, some of the moves that they make, some are defective, but most of the time they'll make moves that a human pilot would make. If not better, often. Yeah.
It's a very simple way of making sure they threaten you honestly.
Yes.
Because if it takes out that human element, you would naturally choose to make the enemy fly away from you, K-turn onto asteroids, that kind of thing. It takes all of that out by making a simple, easy to read threat assessment chart that you tell the enemy ship where you are, and it decides where it'll go based on a dice roll. And there's some logic mechanics written in a PDF that you can find at a website.
So far, Lockie, how has our rebellion gone?
We've had some mixed results.
Yeah.
It's felt real, because if we were winning every game, that'd be nice and everything, but it wouldn't really make sense. And of course, if we lost every game, it wouldn't be fun. We've won a couple of missions quite easily. We've won one mission in particular by the skin of our teeth, which
the Hawk mission.
I was going to tell you about that one because he's the one who won it for us.
Oh my
so
God.
we'll leave that. And there's 2 missions that we technically lost because we chose to leave the battlefield rather than be killed because we wanted to keep the experience points that we'd earned by playing, and that's a difficult decision to make.
Something we should point out is that if you die in this game, it's not just a simple reset. You keep everything. No, you could lose everything. Your pilot could be dead.
If you die in the Matrix, you die in real life, you guys.
Yeah. Yes, there's permadeath, and then actually, tell you, that's what I really love about this expansion, is that it has consequences. So normal X-wing 100 point game, you put your ships down, they blow up. You know, those pilots live a day of dying and
sacrifice the pawns.
Yes,
I live, I die, I live again. Witness me.
That's what it is. There's no consequences at the end of the day. With this campaign, there are consequences, and I think that's the really interesting thing. So ultimately,
so far, R2D2 is not dead.
you have to decide: am I going to fight that one TIE fighter? I only have 2 hull left, but because if I explode at the end of this mission, I can only play again if the other guys rescue me. I maybe don't want to fight that TIE fighter. It's a bizarre thought, but it's a different kind of adaptive gameplay where you figure it out with your team. Because if you die during it, you can lose experience points. But if the rest of your squad survive, it's assumed they've rescued you. But if everybody dies, it's game over.
yes.
So if you take risks with yourself, you're really affecting the rest of the team. It's a different gameplay style because all of you have to play together.
And that's the thing I really enjoy about the sessions we've had is that we actually work as a squadron. We actually have to go, okay, this is your job, this is what you've got to do. Then as we're going through the mission, we have to adapt, we have to change, we have to mix things up. We have to work out, one of the missions, we flew the mission where you have to fly through the asteroid field and destroy the sensors. Goldfinger, sorry, but we sacrificed him to achieve the mission. We said, your job is to fly into there.
We wrote his name on the wall of honor.
And we built a statue to him on Coruscant. But his job was to draw off all the TIE interceptors and just basically get blown up. But that's the interesting, challenging, and exciting thing I find about this campaign or this game mode is there are consequences, but you work as a unit, and you have to work how to achieve the goals.
Because there are consequences, but there are rewards. As much like in any RPG, if you can get XP and hold on to them, you can upgrade your ship. If you think about a normal ship in a 100-point game of X-Wing can have 1 modification, 1 elite talent, and whatever special rule it comes with. As your ship gets better and better and you go through levels with the experience system, you can duct tape stacks of modifications onto your ship. You can have several special rules. So as you go along, you can start taking elite talent points and native pilot talents, and you can have them on your ship all at once, and you can create synergy you would never see otherwise. My plan, for example, is to continue flying an X-Wing, which is only a medium evade ship with the 2 greens, but I'm going to take an A-Wing ability to give me an extra green dice at range 1 of an enemy, and I'm going to take Chewie's ability so that I can't be crit on, so when I get up into Swarm's face, my X-Wing is going to be much more robust than usual.
Yes.
You could never play with a ship like that anywhere other than Aturi, and that's enough reason to play it on its own.
Now, we've talked a fair bit about Aturi. I think it's time to move on to a bit of a bat rap. Lachlan, we had a good time last Tuesday.
We did.
We lost, we won. We had a great time.
We laughed, we
What
cried.
happened?
We played 2 missions. The first mission was to abduct an Imperial officer. There was a shuttle and 3 TIE fighters on the board at the beginning of the game. To balance the enemies, because presumably the human players are smarter than the AI, to make it more of a challenge, the AI are more robust than usual. So the Lambda shuttle came with 3 more shields than it usually would, to make it a bit stronger. So we had to immobilize that ship by getting it down to 3 hull. At that point, it could no longer move, and we had to kill its escort, and we won the game. We, at great risk to ourselves, we took a lot of damage, but we managed to get the shields on that shuttle all the way down. It was immobile. We had nailed that mission objective. All we had to do was kill the rest of the TIEs. Unfortunately, they kept coming onto the board in overwhelming numbers. We knew, and this is part of the Aturi challenge, is to decide how you want to do it. If we stayed on the board, we would have been crushed by numbers. So we had to evacuate, which wasn't a satisfying feeling, but because none of us were killed, we all kept our XP.
And that's what I like about it, is like, this is, you're playing a campaign, so you're playing the long game. You're going, it's not just about flying in there and going pew pew and blowing things up. You kind of go, okay, I want to be able to develop my pile in a certain way. If I die in combat, it's game over, man. Game over. You have to start afresh. And the other thing is sort of the synergy, as you mentioned before, that you can potentially get on your ship. I think is really interesting. Like, I've got some ideas for my X-Wing, which I'm sort of hoping to turn into kind of a very effective dogfighter, because my dream is just to basically take on Sunto Fel one-on-one. That's what I want to do for funsies.
Want to be the Kingslayer?
I want to put Suntia's ears around the sort of nose of my X-Wing. That's pretty.
So our second mission, we've done this mission once before, and last time it was a walk in the park. We came on. There was a set of interceptors and a set of TIE fighters, and we took them out pretty easily enough. And we had to escort a Hawk with a defector to the other side of the board. Everyone knows Hawks can't go very fast, and this one could not go very fast as well. But that's okay, because Hawk's alive. So it came down to, after defeating most things, it came down to a set of interceptors coming in from the side of the board, charging as fast as they could, boosting straight 5 towards this Hawk. Last turn, very last turn, taking 3 shots from interceptors, losing all of its shields, all of its hull down to 1. Last interceptor, hit, crit. Oh dear.
It's not ideal.
This is not where I want to be, especially as a Hawk pilot. So, in the role of what was the night, it ended up with me hugging chairs because I was so excited. 3 natural evades from the range 3 bonus. There was a 98% chance that wasn't going to happen.
How did you actually figure that out?
Oh, I just have a calculator.
Oh, well, there you go. All right. Because it should be noted that the rules of Aturi are really well written to make sure the ships are particularly aggressive, but also easy to understand and easy to control. An interceptor has very clearly written rules for how to barrel roll and how to boost. So the ships are always facing towards the most vulnerable enemy, and that will often be an allied ship that you don't control in an escort mission, that if that ship dies, you fail. So squads of interceptors and TIE fighters are programmed to always barrel roll or boost to be as close to that ship as possible. It's very hard to hide from the AI.
Look, and the other thing is that you learn to fear the TIE interceptor.
Because they start with a stealth device. They
Yes.
automatically have a stealth device, and they get a focus every turn. That's just how the game works.
Yeah, the game mechanics are a little different, but the way that Josh has bumped these ships makes them a real threat. And that's what I enjoy about it. The fact is, you don't roll in there and blow up 3 TIE fighters and sort of giggle at how funny that is. You kind of go in and go, right, there's a TIE interceptor. My best strategy is to turn around.
Yeah. That's what
Or
makes
in
it
my
so...
case, try and bomb it.
Or bomb it.
Try and bomb it.
Try and bomb it.
When in doubt, bomb.
When in doubt, yeah.
Make situation go boom.
You see that ship over there, sir? Yes, I do. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Understood.
But look, I think sort of broadly speaking about this, it's worth mentioning that this is a fan-made production. So it's not officially associated with FFG. So Josh, you can find...
Because we know you're listening.
Of course you're Josh.
If you are Josh, personally, I love you.
We come to Australia, mate. We'll buy you a round of beers. You'll find him at Docking Bay 416 on the interwebs. If FFG does not take this and somehow add this to the X-Wing game, they'd be foolish, I'd say, because this just adds so much to it and so much replayability. and potentially brings in a different kind of player base as well, like people who
The
love
way,
RPGs.
the way I've described this is that a Tory cluster does not replace X-Wing. It adds to it. It makes it something that it isn't, but in a good way, and is potentially a very, very good way to attract new people.
Yeah, it's a good way to get different uses out of your ships that are impossible to get otherwise, and it's fun in terms of a team building exercise. Just seeing what you and your friends can come up with. It would be great to have this game brought out into the forefront somehow. Like, you know, if FFG was able to get on top of it.
All right, well, I think that's enough gushing about a Tory cluster. Let's go to the cantina. Let's finish this buzz off. Okay, everyone. I'm here. We're all here. Take a seat. Here we go. Lachlan, you want to give a big shout out. Who are we shouting out to today?
Games Lab in Little Lonsdale Street in Melbourne, because that's where our X-Wing group congregate every Monday afternoon, Monday night. They treat us really well there. Got all the X-Wing gear you could possibly need, and
Rouge Squadron, we are fabulous.
we rosy cheeks and friendly attitudes.
Yes.
And yeah, that's great stuff in there. It's just a general board game shop. They got anything you could possibly want. But on Mondays, it's an X-Wing place, and they look after us really well.
What time do you start X-Wing?
Any time in the late afternoon, early Monday night.
Generally, people start turning up around about 4:30 till close, which is about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you can get in quite a few games. The other thing with the community is that we've grown it, that there is a mixture of competitive players and casual players, of veterans and newbies as well. So it's great in that sense, is that it's very welcoming. We're all there helping, fostering the community, and I think Games Lab have recognised that, and that we've been made to feel very special on Monday nights.
We are special.
Well, we are special.
I am special.
But in a good way.
Yes, in a very good way.
But yeah, so just once again, that's Games Lab in the Melbourne CBD, close to Melbourne Central, really easy to get to, and yeah, look after you really well.
It's a very, very central place, and it's actually one of the first places I played X-Wing. It was the first place I played X-Wing.
It was against me, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was. That was my first game that wasn't against Andrew, who I bought the game with.
Yes.
But we've got an excellent group, and yeah, you'll just have a hoot basically talking to people as well as playing.
My turn. I'm going to shout out Gatekeeper Games in St George's Road, Fitzroy. This is the home of the now illustrious Banter Squadron, so many of their members made the top 8 of the recent regionals. Nick, Olaf, there's some other outstanding players there. I started going there late this year because I wanted more X-Wing, and you can't have enough X-Wing in your life, at least for me. In fact,
that tells you otherwise is wrong.
No,
and they should be punished.
I don't have a problem. I can stop anytime I want. And look, and the other reason I go there is because of the caliber of the players there. Look, I'll be the first to admit I'm a casual player. I've mostly just mucked around, flying all kinds of lists, but going there has helped me become a better player in that I go there and they pretty much smash me every week. But that's how you learn in this game. You sort of know to get better, you have to play players of a better caliber than yourself, and then sort of climb up the skill ranks that way.
And Mike, when do they play?
They play Tuesday nights from 5 p.m. till close, which is around about 10. It's a really good community. You're definitely going to get a game there. And the guys at Gatekeeper are fantastic as well, really supportive of the community.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. I think we shall take a break now and close out the show. Well, it's been a great night here at Hell of a Pilot. Thank you very much for listening. Mike, what's happening on our next show?
Look, I'm excited. There's not one, but 2 ship reviews.
2 ship reviews?
I'm excited for the Striker. Some people are a little underwhelmed, but you know what? I think there's enormous potential there. And you've got to love Sabine's repainted TIE Fighter. the way she tricked that out, it's beautiful. So we're going to have a chat about the dials, the abilities, the pilots.
The TIE Striker dials.
Yes.
We're going mad for the adaptive ailerons, but I keep saying leave them off.
Yes.
Keep that short range dial. Get the striker in the enemy's hair so they can't get it out.
Like a flea.
Like a flea.
Like a bad itch. That is
Yes.
a TIE Striker.
Yes. But look, we're going to be going in depth into those two and discussing that.
Lockie, what else is happening this week? What else is happening?
What else is happening this week if you're a Star Wars fan? I don't
know.
you're not talking about Rogue One, are you?
Rogue One?
Rogue One.
What is this?
Sorry.
Is that a motion picture? Is it a talkie? Why am I doing that? Oh god. Okay. But yeah, Moulin Rogue, that's the film that's coming out this Thursday. I'm going to be there on Thursday because that's the kind of thing I do. And yeah.
Midnight screening?
No, not quite.
Oh.
Not quite. Because I have to do lame things like work or they won't let me have money to eat. But yeah, it's going to be it's a very exciting one because look, people make fun of the prequels, but that's only because they weren't good. But this could be the prequel we deserved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, I'm particularly excited. I think, as I was saying to Lockie earlier this evening, I put my faith in the House of Mouse. I think they're treating the franchise with a lot of respect, and they know what they're doing. They know how to build a universe. They know how to bring together talented filmmakers and creators and artisans to give us a superior product. I mean, look what they did with the Marvel Universe. Force Awakens was a fantastic return to form for the franchise. All the buzz about Rogue One, and I'm really excited. All the buzz is really positive. Now I'm trying to manage my expectations.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
Because I've gone into an internet-free zone this last week.
Burnt. I've been burnt before.
Yes, exactly.
Jar Jar, you were supposed to be cool.
Yeah. I was there at the midnight screening for The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as it's known, really, Darth Maul and Friends.
Yes.
But it's going to be the new step forward in the new expanded universe we talked about before. The old days of Star Wars Legends. We don't have Kyle Katarn and Jan Ors anymore, but now who knows, we might be talking about Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor in loving conversations in 20 years. So it could be all right, guys. It could be all right.
And we'll chat about it after we've seen it multiple times. I, for one, will probably see it half a dozen times. I'm that kind of tragic. I saw Force Awakens 6 times at the cinemas. Don't judge me. As I said, I don't have a problem. I can stop any time.
You don't want to, though, do you? No.
No, I'm no. This is the kind of problem I want.
The kind of problem. Yes.
Well, thank you, everyone. Mike, do you have any shout-outs to give?
Look, I had a ball at regionals too. To everybody I played, it was fantastic fun. Thank you so much. Great games, and I hope to face you again. And maybe this time I'll win.
Lucky.
I don't play really competitively, so I've got a lot of respect for you guys giving shout outs to the people you played against. I think that's really good sportsmanship. But I will give my shout out to the guy who's always been there for me, and that's Elo Asti, because that guy just tearing, ripping donuts around the asteroid field. He's the rebel defender because he can spin around and get all in your business with a white and a target lock, and he died in the movie, but he lives in my heart.
That's right. Mad love for Elo.
Mad love. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello.
All right,
Owen.
Big shout out. Give me a second. All right, it's fine. It's fine.
I've heard him, you guys. Look at his face.
Big shout out to everyone I played at regionals, especially to you, Brendan. I haven't been pantsing in a long time. That was a good pantsing. Thank you kindly for that one. And thank you, everyone who is listening to this show. It's been an adventure. It's been a hell of a ride, and we're finally here. Thank you. Good night, everyone.